In a moment, I'm going to count 3 behaviors. Today, just today. How many did you do? 1. You were right, but you said, never mind. 2. You said okay when you felt no inside. 3. You smiled to cover up the fact that you were hurt. If you did all 3, this video is for you. All 3 behaviors have the same name: silently losing power, unknowingly, every day, little by little. Today, we're going to go the other way. Hook 1. For many years, I watched a friend of mine. He said yes to everything. He tried to understand everyone, to forgive everyone, to carry everyone's burden on his own shoulders. It was not exhaustion that finally broke him. It was that nothing he gave ever came back to him. He was always there if people needed anything from him, but if he needed anything, there was usually no one around. This continued for years. Then something changed. 3 years later, I saw him again. The man in front of me was not the same. He didn't look harder, he looked clearer. His voice was slower, but what he said had weight. "What's the matter?" I said to him. He thought about it for a long time, then simply said, "I quit getting broken. The world didn't change, I did." I could never get that sentence out of my head. Because it wasn't just his story. That was mine too. And more than likely it's your story right now too. Something to think about. Now you have 2 versions of yourself. The first version is the one that explains everything, apologizes to everyone, and waits for people to change. The one that tries so hard to be understood, loved, and respected, but gets less value the more it gives. The second version is the one you have not fully met, silent, decisive, non-argumentative, non-begging, and non-chasing. The problem is, you have lived as the first version until today. This softened you where you needed to be soft, and dulled you where you needed to be sharp. 500 years ago, an Italian statesman wrote a book about power that people still read and talk about. His name was Machiavelli. One of his most misunderstood ideas was this: if a person cannot be loved and feared, it is safer to be feared. It is easy to read this as cruelty, but what it was describing was control, never giving your control over to someone else. Another idea in the same book is this: if you make yourself totally dependent on one person, one approval, one bond, you will fall apart when that bond is broken someday. He who has his independence, yet still stands. Today we will not be talking about cruelty, but control. I'll tell you of 5 shifts, and each one of them will ask something of you. A part of you that tries to please everyone, constantly explains and constantly forgives. It won't be simple, but if you stick to the end, you'll end up in a very different place than where you started today. Why this is a different video. First, let me clarify this. Don't watch this as a motivation video. Motivation videos make you feel good for 5 minutes, then you close them, and the next day, everything is exactly the same because nothing became a concrete application. This video was built with a different logic. In each topic, I will give you a real scenario. I will explain the psychological mechanism behind that scenario, and I will leave a small exercise you can try today, right away. I want this to be something you notice starting today, not something you watch for 5 minutes and then forget. This video will cover the sections false belief, mechanism, wrong application, and try today. This order is not random. First, you will find out what you believe. Second, you will learn why it's not working. Third, you will see where you may be overdoing things. And finally, you will discover a small step you can do today. If you follow this order, at the end of the video, you won't just say, "I felt inspired." You'll say, "I know what to do." I also need to make one thing clear from the start, because it is a point that I will be coming back to a lot throughout this video. This is not a guide on manipulating people or being cold to people. In fact, it's a manual to make you resistant to manipulation. That is why I will give you a wrong application warning at the end of each topic, because by misusing these principles, you become not the person you want to be, but a lonely person who cannot be approached, who no one trusts. That's not the aim. The idea is to protect the value you give, to give it to those who deserve it and take it away from those who do not. Why am I telling you this? Let me state it briefly. For years, I didn't know the difference between being a good person and hurting myself. Because I didn't know how to set boundaries, I was often the one giving the most, understanding the most, and exhausting myself the most. This video is a summary of what I figured out in that process. It's up to you to compare it with your own life and decide what works for you and what doesn't. I am making an observation to you, not a claim. If you follow my channel already, you know that we've talked about similar topics before, and my goal every time is the same, to take a complex-looking psychological idea and make it into a step that you can use today in your real life. This video is a continuation of that line, but this time it is about boundaries, silence, and patience. One last thing. You will recognize yourself many times while watching this video, and some parts will possibly make you uncomfortable. Discomfort is not a bad sign. It is a sign that shows where change begins. In the comfort zone, nothing changes. If you're ready, let's begin. Item 1. Guard your attention. Think of your attention as currency. Where you spend your time determines what you become. Many of us were raised with a belief like, it's polite to respond to someone immediately when they disturb you. We feel the need to respond instantly to every notification, every comment, every message that begins with urgent or will appear rude or uncaring or selfish. But this is a false belief because being polite and being always available are not the same thing. If someone wants to talk to you and you don't answer in a minute, that doesn't mean you don't care about them. If this sounds so familiar, you are most likely someone who reaches for their phone as soon as they open their eyes in the morning, reacting to every vibration on the screen through the day. Most of us are like that. The problem is not the phone. It is who chooses to react to that vibration or not. You or the phone? Let's be specific here. Say you had posted something. Someone had written a nasty and almost unfair comment below. There's some part of you that wants to answer immediately. You want to defend yourself, show that you're right, that you can persuade the other person. Your fingers are already poised over the keys. But if you give in to that urge within 3 minutes, the commenter is actually controlling your attention. They are deciding for you. They are deciding when you will react, the tone you will speak in, how much energy you will spend. Now live through the same scenario differently. You see the comment. You pause for a moment. Ask yourself, does this need a response right now? And most of the time the answer is no. That comment can sit there for hours or even go unanswered forever, and the world will not end. The reason for this is very simple. The human mind associates value with rarity and ordinariness with availability. If you're available every second, under all conditions, the other person's mind will unconsciously trivialize you because they don't have to do anything to deserve it. But when you don't answer immediately, or you don't answer at all, the other side starts asking questions. Why didn't they answer? Do they not care? Or are they purposely making me wait? That space of uncertainty actually opens up a space that works in your favor. This is not a game. It's just a way to reclaim the real value of your attention. Think about this in terms of your own energy also. Answering notifications right away puts your brain in a constant standby mode. You can't really focus on a task because one part of your attention is always on alert, not knowing when the next notification will arrive. One of the more common reasons you might feel drained at the end of a day, even if you haven't done anything major. In protecting your attention, you are not only taking a stand against others, but also against your own mind. You can also bring this into your work life too. Maybe you have a coworker who tags every message as urgent. If you reply to all of their messages in seconds, you are unconsciously teaching them. You can interrupt me whenever you want, however you want. When you can tell the difference between what is truly urgent and what is not, your space for focusing on your work increases, and eventually, even that person will start respecting your priorities because they don't get an instant answer every single time. You can also look at this through a gym or hobby environment. Some people start to talk to you, they explain their problems in length, and leave without asking you anything. You were just a listener there, a source of energy. When you see this, politely cutting the conversation short or stepping back a little the next time you meet is not rudeness, but a way to protect your own energy. And usually the other side doesn't even notice, because they're used to taking from you, not giving. Think about this in a family context too. Some families, one person is always ready. Everyone tells them at last minute, and they adjust every time, ruining their own plans. This person is over time not the most valued member of the family, but the most easily usable one, because no demand is left unanswered and no boundary ever set. And when that same person says, "I'm not available this week," one day, there is astonishment in the family first, then a strange respect, because for the first time they have met a boundary. I don't want to go past this. There is a critical point here you need to be careful about. And no, protecting your attention doesn't mean you ignore real feedback or someone who genuinely needs help. If your friend is having a really bad day and you wait hours to reply to their message under the guise of strategic delay, this is not a proper application of this principle, but it's exact abuse. This principle is a protection against demands that consume and unnecessarily occupy you, not against bonds that grow you and really matter. If you mistake setting boundaries for not caring, you will lose the power you seek to get, because no one will be there for you at the end of the day. One more thing I want to add here. When you start protecting your attention, some people will get uncomfortable with it. They'll even blame you for it, saying things like, "You've changed," or "You've become indifferent." Usually this is not a sign that you've changed for the worse, but proof that they can no longer get to you as easily as before. You don't have to take this reaction personally, just take it as proof that your new boundary is working. Try something small today. When you get a notification, wait 10 seconds before grabbing your phone. 10 seconds flat. In that little gap, ask yourself, does this really have to happen now? Most of the time, you will realize that the answer is no, and even that realization will show you over time what a resource your attention is. If you tried this and noticed it, let me know in the comments. My power is within me. 2. Silence as a strategic tool. Silence is not a vacuum. Used at the right time and in the right way, it is one of the most powerful tools in your hand. We generally regard silence as something missing. If we cannot shoot back an answer the minute someone tells us something, we feel we are falling behind or we look weak. That's why we try to respond instantly to every comment, criticism, and claim as if silence were a loss. But the truth is this: immediate response is usually a sign of reactivity, not of power. And reactivity is the quickest way to lose control. Let's say you got a controversial message. When you read the screen, something swells up in you and you want to answer right away, right then. But that first answer is almost never the best answer because you are still driven by emotion, not logic. Instead, if you write the answer and then leave it unsent, when you look at it again 10 minutes or an hour later, you will usually write something very different, much clearer, or sometimes you won't send anything at all. Silence here is not a way out. It is a weapon, pulling you away from emotion and into strategy. There's a physiological side to this as well. When emotions rise, the heart beats faster. Thinking becomes more limited, and decisions are usually driven by the fight or flight response rather than long-term thinking. This physiological burden can be alleviated with a few minutes or even a few breaths. When you settle down, you realize that what you felt you must definitely say a moment ago didn't actually need to be said at all. You can also imagine getting an unfair criticism in a meeting. Your instinct will probably be to justify yourself immediately, to explain, to show everybody that you are right. But sometimes the best response is no response at all. If you don't speak up and let that criticism hang in the air, the other people in the room will start to question it unconsciously. Was that criticism really fair? The moment you get defensive, the focus of the conversation shifts from the actual matter to your reaction, and the argument is no longer about the main issue, but about you. The psychological mechanism behind this is that the human mind has a natural inclination to fill in the blanks. If you don't speak up, the other person will usually fill that silence with their own assumptions and explanations, and in doing so, they often reveal their own motivations and insecurities. The other side says a lot about themselves without you saying a word. This is not manipulation. It is an observation of how the human mind reacts to silence, and you can use this observation to your advantage. Think of this also in a digital environment. If someone makes a sarcastic joke about you in a group chat, you might want to clap back right away in front of everyone. But to remain silent at that moment, or to change the subject, or not to react at all, often leaves that person alone with his own joke. A joke that has no applause dies of its own weight. Anyway, you don't have to shout to see the intention of that person. But there is also a significant border here. Silence should not be an automatic excuse to avoid a serious conversation. If there's something that needs to be discussed and addressed in a relationship, you can't keep playing the strategic silence game forever. That delay is avoidance, not power. The difference here is between avoidance and selection. Avoidance is not talking due to fear or discomfort. Choice is to remain silent and to wait for the right time and the right ground. If you cannot tell the difference between the two, then your silence is going to rot your relationships from the inside out rather than make you stronger. And one day it will blow. And one more thing. There will be times when the person across from you will find your silence uncomfortable, calling you sullen, tense, or passive-aggressive. Do not give in to the temptation to explain yourself here. The minute you begin to explain yourself, you are already turning back and giving in to your old habit. Remember that silence is a message, and not all messages should be understood by everyone. Take this action today. Write out your first response to a controversial topic. Do not send it. Read it again an hour afterward. You're likely to send something very different, or you will see that you didn't need to send anything at all. Out of these three scenarios, what triggers you most? Write in the comments. Item 3. Selective appearance. Running to every invitation, trying to be every place, and replying to every message in seconds doesn't make you look valuable. Quite the opposite, it makes you normal over time. Imagine a texting conversation. You're there at every moment. You're ready at any time. You switch plans immediately when plans switch. You're back to the other person in seconds with every message. At first, this looks like a good thing. But then, over time, that person begins to see your presence not as an option, but as a guarantee, because the possibility of losing you was never an option. But someone who protects his own rhythm and is not always available occupies a totally different place in the other's mind. This isn't about chasing someone or playing a game. It is about managing your own time and energy according to your own priorities. You may feel the pressure to be present at all times in a personal relationship. Every time your partner, friend, or family member calls you, you may think you have to drop what you're doing and run, and you've done this for years because otherwise you feel guilty. But constant, unconditional availability breeds expectation, not respect. The other side starts to view your time as something that is always there, not a valuable resource. When you consciously put your own time, work, and rest first, you actually give the relationship a healthier, more balanced structure, and oddly enough, it even results in receiving more value. Think about this in terms of dating and new acquaintances too. If you're replying to every message within minutes from day one to someone you just met, The other side gets a sense of guarantee before they even get to know you, which strangely can decrease their interest instead of their curiosity. In contrast, someone who lives their own life, who keeps their own rhythm, is sending out the message to the other side that this person already has a full and meaningful life. And this message always comes across as far more attractive than being instantly available at all times. The flip side to this also needs to be seen. As things become harder to get, people see them as more valuable. This is an almost universal human behavior. Even if the product is exactly the same, your perception is different when you see one sitting on store shelves in abundance versus one that says only 3 items left. In human relations, time and attention are just such a resource. When it is offered in unlimited quantities, its value disappears. But when it is offered in a limited and conscious way, its value is preserved. This knowledge doesn't make you heartless, it just makes you aware that your time is a resource too. Maybe you see a similar pattern in your social circles. You might be going to every invitation because it's hard to say no or fear of missing out. This wears you down over time because you're spending your energy on things you felt you couldn't say no to, not things you really want, and at the end of the day, you have no energy left for things you actually care about. Being selective here is not selfishness, but a conscious way of protecting your energy. When you choose, you can be fully present for the thing you chose. Same pattern you see on social media. It's not about privacy, but a conscious choice of what you share with whom. There is a difference between a person who has all his/her posts and stories public and readily accessible, and someone who consciously chooses who sees what. The latter makes people around feel that seeing me is a privilege. How does this work? Well, it works because the human mind always devalues that which is freely available and values that which is rare and selective. This is not a manipulation tactic, it is simply a truth about the nature of value and attention. When you value your time, people will automatically start respecting it because they will feel that your time has a price. A similar pattern exists in working life. The person who says yes to every meeting and every extra task, who says, "Of course I will be there," and "Sure I will do it," eventually becomes the default solution for the team. They don't even ask anymore, since they have always said yes. But sometimes saying, "I have another task this week, I can look at it next week," reminds everyone this person's time also has a limit and a value. Strangely enough, this lucidity makes them someone who is taken more seriously, not less. But I have to put a warning here too. This principle is not about being unattainable or mysterious for the sole purpose of manipulating people. The idea is not to make a game, but to make a real balance of priorities. If you deliberately play it cool just to make someone miss you, this is a manipulative position, not a strategic one. Sooner or later, the other side feels it, and trust is broken right then and there. Real selectiveness is based on your own needs and energy. Tactical selectiveness is based on the reaction that the other person will give. Looks like a small difference, but makes a big difference. You'll also see this. As you start to act selectively, people around you will divide into 2 groups. One group will respect your new boundaries and will even care about you more because your time now feels like a choice, a gift. The other group will feel uncomfortable because they were benefiting from your unconditional availability. In fact, the clearest information you get to tell you who is a genuine connection and who was just a habit is the reaction you get from group 2. Try this today. This week, say yes or no to an invitation, not because it's hard to say no, but because you really want to. Think about it. Ask yourself, do I want this, or am I just stuck? On a scale of 1 to 10, how well did you guard your rhythm today? / write it in comments. Item 4. Recognize your emotional triggers. It's not the events themselves that knock you out of control, but your automatic, unconsidered reactions to those events that really do so. And virtually all of these automatic reactions have a trigger. Have you ever noticed how you feel inside when somebody says lazy to you? Some people hear this word and go on shrugging their shoulders, saying it means nothing. In others, it causes an immediate defensive reflex. The voice raises, tries to prove, to explain, and they think about that sentence the whole day. The difference isn't in the word itself, but in what that word touches in your past. Maybe as a kid, you were always criticized for not working enough, or perhaps at some point you really felt inadequate. If you know your trigger, you can build a 1-second space the second you hear that word, a little space between the reaction and the action. That 1 second sometimes changes everything. Another way to see this is to notice what happens in your body. When the body is activated, something typically occurs before the thought. Your throat constricts, your jaw clamps down, you experience a weight in your stomach, and then the thought. If you learn to notice these signals early on in your body, your chances of noticing that little gap before reacting increase. Because the body usually warns you a few seconds before the mind does. Maybe you have a friend who is always in crisis, but never there when it is your turn. Every time they call you, drop whatever you are holding and run. You spend hours on every message listening and looking for solutions. But when you go through a bad patch, you don't see that interest. They cut calls short, say, "We'll talk later," or don't even notice. Or there is a particular person in your family who makes the same sarcastic comment at every gathering. Sentences like, "Are you still not married?" or "Are you still working at that job?" You have been hearing the same sentence for years. And every time you tense up in the exact same way, passing it off with a smile or going on the defensive, you know your trigger, and you realize that this sentence is not really about that person, but about a sensitivity in your own past, and that awareness diminishes the power of that sentence over you tremendously. What usually gets triggered here is a fear of abandonment or being dismissed. The reason you fall back into this loop every time is because you don't want to face that fear. Without knowing what is your trigger, you cannot set boundaries on this friendship, because every time you will fall back into the same automatic loop. But when the fear is named, you can ask the question, what is this relationship giving me, and what am I giving it? Independently of emotion, much more clearly. What this means is that emotional reactions are largely automatic, but automatic doesn't mean unchangeable. When a trigger gets you, your brain is actually evaluating not the real situation you are in at the moment, but a similar situation you lived through in the past. Like time is rewound. When you identify and name your trigger, you break that automatic loop, and in that small space, your real space of choice opens up. How you react will be chosen by you, not your past. Or consider this. In a meeting when you've put forward your idea and it's ignored, and a couple of minutes later someone else puts forward the same exact idea and everyone applauds it, what goes on inside you? This feeling of being invisible strikes a very ancient wound, for most, perhaps from childhood, perhaps from another time. The size of your anger at that time is not proportional to the size of the event, but to the depth of that old wound. Knowing this allows you to ask, why did this hurt so much, rather than exploding in that moment? But there is a point here which is very easily misunderstood, and a word of warning must precede this. Knowing your trigger is not ignoring your emotions or suppressing them. The point is not to not feel, but to consciously decide how you want to react. It is perfectly normal and healthy to be upset if someone has really hurt you. Trying to hide it from yourself does not make you stronger. In contrast, it builds up. The problem isn't being sad, it's immediately turning that sadness into a word or a behavior without even knowing it or thinking about it. Someone who is always shutting down their emotions is not strong, but disconnected. And that disconnection erodes both you and the relationships around you in the long run. There's another thing that you'll notice over time, that the same trigger, the same sentence, the same behavior will catch you a little less each time. That doesn't mean you don't care, It just means the trigger loses its power over you as you learn it. A known trigger just provides information. You are controlled by an unknown trigger. Do this today. Notice one moment that sets you off today. One is enough. Before you react, say what you feel in one sentence. Saying "I'm angry right now" or "I'm hurt right now" creates a small but powerful gap between you and the reaction. What do you think is harder? To be quiet or to withdraw? Drop me a line in the comments. Item 5. Win through patience. Some battles are won not by talking, but by waiting. And that's the hardest lesson for most people. Imagine that you are the victim of a baseless rumor. The first thing you will probably want to do is to explain, prove, defend yourself, and show the truth to each person one-on-one. But more often than not, this response fans the flame of the rumor rather than dousing it, because over-defending implies that there might be some truth to it. People start thinking, why are they defending themselves so much? Being patient and allowing time and your consistent behavior to speak for themselves is often a much more powerful, much more permanent response. You know, if you've ever watched someone play chess, it's not always the person who makes the quickest move who is the best player, but the one who waits patiently and can spot their opponent's mistake. Usually, the rushing side makes their own mistake. Panic does not make the best decisions. This logic works exactly the same way in daily life. You may be tempted to confront them right away and show everyone if someone copies your idea or your effort. But sometimes it is much more effective to wait for the right moment and let the result speak for itself. Over time, your effort proves itself anyway, and then no one looks at who shouted louder, but at who actually produced. Friendship, too, may need the patience of like with like. If someone is constantly breaking their promise to you, do not be angry or throw it in their face every time. You can simply observe carefully. Is this a habit or a temporary period? By watching the patient, you get a much clearer picture than you ever would by a quick reaction, and you decide in the end on much firmer ground whether to stay or how much distance to put. The mechanism is this. An instantaneous reaction usually gives the quickest relief, not the best decision. At that moment, we want to release the tension that is inside us, and we give in to this desire. Patience, in contrast, is the willingness to delay that instant gratification, because what you gain in the long run is far more valuable than what you lose in the moment. And the patient person has more information, because the guy who doesn't rush into action gets to see. There is also a very striking aspect in it. People usually accept their mistakes not when someone points it out to them, but when they realize it by themselves. The more you shout an injustice, the more you lay out the facts, the more the other side is going to dig their heels in. But when you say nothing and wait, then over time that person has a chance to see his own inconsistency and contradiction for himself, and that inner seeing is more lasting than any criticism coming from the outside. But you shouldn't take this as gospel, and this warning is especially important here. Calculated inaction does not mean never speaking out against real injustices. Sometimes you need to step in immediately, and right there, especially when someone's safety, dignity, or rights are threatened. Waiting it out isn't patience, it's neglect. If you make patience an apology and silence a cowardice, this principle makes you quite passive instead of making you strong. There's a difference between speaking right now does nothing and I am afraid to speak right now. The difference is always about honesty with yourself. Patience, too, has its reward, and it is a reward that is too often ignored. You are not just sitting there passively while you wait, you are observing, learning, and getting ready. A person who rushes does so once and takes the result. But a patient person has the luxury of choosing the most accurate moment and most accurate way, and usually when that moment comes, they make a much bigger impact with much less energy. Test it out today. This week, develop an environment where you consciously wait 24 hours instead of reacting. Notice how your perspective, or the situation itself, shifts at the end. Mid-summary. And continue. Pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, did you see yourself most in any of these 5 topics? Maybe you can't guard your attention, running to every notification right away. Perhaps you cannot learn to be quiet, to respond to every criticism right away. Or maybe you leap at every invite, blow up first, and regret it later when you get triggered. Or your impatience always pushes you to make early moves. Remember, we'll come back to it at the end of the video. We have seen 4 of them so far: being aware of where you put your attention, using silence as a tool, not an escape, keeping your visibility selective, and knowing your triggers to create a gap between yourself and your reaction. Then, with the 5th, we added patience, because some things prove themselves over time. But none of these 5 topics alone is sufficient, for they are mutually reinforcing. So now let's get to how you're going to put these together, because this is the most important part. The end. In fact, these 5 topics are not separate ideas, but are parts of a single whole. If you guard your attention, it is easier to keep silent. A mind that does not react to everything thinks much clearer and is purged of noise. Silence reinforces selective visibility, because someone who is not available at every moment already speaks less, though more meaningfully. Knowing your triggers is what allows you to stay patient, because if you don't know what sets you off, you can't really stay calm. You just suppress it. And patience is like a roof sitting on top of all of these. Someone who does not rush protects their attention, silence, and boundaries much easier, because they don't fall into the mistakes brought by haste. Perhaps you've experienced the exact opposite of this up until today. You wasted your energy in the wrong places, answered everything instantly, ran to every invitation just because you couldn't say no. Reacted first when triggered and regretted it later, acted impatient and lost. This does not mean that there is something wrong with you. It just means that until today, nobody showed you that there is another way. We have shown it now, and the rest's up to you. Remember that friend of mine I told you about at the beginning of the video that said yes to everyone and then changed silently? It wasn't one big thing that changed him. It was all the little decisions, day after day. One time, he didn't respond to a message right away. Another day, he politely declined an invitation because he did not feel up to it. Another day, he didn't even answer an unfair criticism. He just looked. None of them was revolutionary in itself. But 3 years later, the sum of those small decisions made one of the calmest, clearest people I have ever known. Your story will probably be written like this too. Not in one moment, but with small decisions starting today. These are not strategies, they are habits. And habit is formed by repetition and patience, not in a day. So don't try to change all 5 today, because you'll burn out and you probably won't be able to keep any of them up, and you'll give up after a few days. Instead, begin with a single location. So, if you're so exhausted from trying to respond to people's demands instantly that it's the first thing you want to change, start there, with guarding your attention. If you are constantly trying to be right and constantly defending yourself, start with the second item, silence as a tool. And if you jump at every invitation and later regret it, start with item number 3, selective visibility. If you're the type that gets the most out of reactivity and later regrets it, start with the 4th item. And if your impatience is constantly forcing you to act early without thinking, start with the 5th item. Start right with the one which hits you the most. While watching today, the other 4 are going to follow behind anyway, because they are all connected to the same root. Nothing I explained in this video means you should become a cold, distant, or disconnected person from everyone. I specifically emphasize this in every section because this is one of the easiest topics to misunderstand. In contrast, a person who guards their borders, selects their reactions consciously, and knows where they spend their energy is actually in a position to give much more to those around them, as they are no longer exhausted by giving everything to everyone. It's not about pushing anyone away, but rather about first reclaiming what is yours and then sharing it consciously with those who really deserve it. And each topic we discussed in this video has a trap of its own, and in the next video, I will discuss these very traps. That is, how these 5 principles can be misused and make you lonely without you even realizing it, one by one, because I don't want to leave such an important topic unfinished. And you will most likely want to hear it. Also, don't forget this change will not happen all of a sudden. Some days, you will fall back into your old habit, you will explain needlessly again, or accept an invitation just because you couldn't say no. That doesn't mean you have failed, it just means that your old habit has been built up over years. You cannot expect to change it completely in a few days. The key is to begin again without judging yourself when you fall back, just noticing. Over time, your old version will start to feel more and more alien, and your new version more natural. The world will keep testing you. Some will test your patience, some will test your limits, some will test your silence. This is inevitable, because as they see you change, some will try to get your old, easily accessible version back. Here's the thing you have to remember. Their discomfort isn't proof you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're doing something right for the first time. Someone who gave without limits, who always explained, always chased, is now stopping and asking themselves, is this really good for me? This is an achievement in itself. If you saw something obvious, even a little uncomfortable about yourself watching this video, put it in a comment, because writing something down ties it to you and reminds you of it much more strongly than just thinking about it. Don't forget to like the video, share it with someone that needs one of these 5 things right now, and subscribe to my channel. This content is here exactly for this reason, to talk about habits that make you grow instead of consuming you. And we'll continue this conversation in the next videos where we left off. One last thing in the comments, of these 5 things, which one are you starting with today?